Hey guys, and welcome to episode 14 of Fabric Fridays with me, Mary Morningstar Johnson from Ruby and Violet Designs. I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about a book that I've been working through. I've already made several of the patterns out of it, and I'm excited to show you guys those. I am onto kind of another set of different fabric that I'm using this time around, and one of the fabrics that I'm using has an amazing artist that designs these fabrics for Robert Kaufman. Her name is Erin Dollar, and I'm excited to show you guys her fabric that has kind of inspired part of this project I'm doing in this book, so I'm excited to show you. So the book that I've been working on is Sarah Elizabeth Sharp's Adventures in Paper Piecing and Design, and I loved this book from the get-go because I loved this idea of the shelf with all of these plants on it, and I really wanted to make myself a wall hanging of something like this so that I could hang it in my sewing room and feel like I had a lot of plants around, even though they're fabric plants. And so I really loved the colors that she used, all the different greens and blues. So that definitely inspired what I wanted to use this for. I'm also going to show you guys, I used for my first video the Citris and Mint Wildflower Bouquet fabrics, and if you want to go back to my very first video, I talked about that entire fabric line, and it worked out really well to make some of these. And so I'm excited to show you that, and then show you these new colors that I'm using to paper piece these. So in Sarah's book, she covers several different topics with paper piecing. So if you are newer to paper piecing, she gives you tips and tricks to get going with paper piecing, trying to make it a little bit easier, showing you how the fabric lays, how to lay the fabric behind the paper pieces, and go from there. She also shows quilters who are more experienced with paper piecing how to translate their designs onto paper and then paper piece from there, and she gives a lot of tips and tricks on how to do that too. And then she gives some overall just advice and things to beginners and more advanced people who are doing paper piecing. So this book is really great, and then she has a lot of free patterns in the books, or well, patterns that go along with the book, but she gives a lot of the patterns in the back so that you can make copies of them. And so with the plant ones, I copied those onto this Carol Doak paper. I get it on Amazon. It's not very expensive. I like the Carol Doak paper. It's a little bit thicker than like a newsprint, but after you sew on top of it, it tears really easy when you're trying to tear it off of the seams. And then the paper can also withstand, I would say, about 3 mistakes, and I've made more mistakes than that and continued to use it, but it's usually pretty well perforated and torn by then, but it holds up really well if you do make a mistake and you have to pull your threads out and redo a piece because you either got it backwards or turned the wrong way, or what I've done when I iron it over and then I forget to have cut it to the quarter length before I ironed it over, and then I cut off the part that's actually part of the block. And so anyway, keep that in mind. I want to next talk to you guys about Erin Dollar. She is a surface pattern designer. She's an artist. She is a textile enthusiast, and she designs fabric with Robert Kaufman, and specifically for her home decor brand Cotton and Flax. She has a little shop located in San Diego, California. She focuses a lot on minimalism and more modern design. She's very inspired by modern art, Scandinavian design. If you missed my episode last week, I talked about Scandinavian design, so you could go back and watch that. She's also very interested in sustainable living and focuses a lot of her design around those things. And she's an excellent fabric designer. I am very inspired by her work. I love following her on Instagram and seeing her shop. But here is the fabric that I chose. And again, she designs with Robert Kaufman Fabrics. And this was kind of the focus, I guess, for my blocks with Sarah Elizabeth Sharp's book. So anyway, I'm excited to show you guys that next. So my first attempt at the plant blocks, I use the Citris and Mint Wildflower Bouquet fabrics that I talked about in my very first YouTube video. And here is what it looks like. And so I was using this mustard colored felt. I get all of my felt from the Felt Pod. I really like the quality of their felts. So I'll show you the website for their felts down below. And so with these blocks, I wanted it to seem like it had a light source coming down on it. And so you can see the first fabrics in this flower are lighter, and then they kind of graduate to being a little darker where it might have been shaded below. And then I wanted to have a lot of fun with the vases, and anyway, I really loved the wildflower bouquet for this quilt block, and it worked with the project I was doing. And so then now I have moved on to doing this, and I know that this kind of looks like it went over the edge of the plant holder, but actually it's a 1/4 inch, and so when I sew this seam, it will cut this piece off at a 1/4 inch. But I loved the Erin Dollar fabric with my vase in this, and so again I used the light source, and so it goes from lighter to darker. And I had this idea in my head when I saw the book, and I wanted to really get it done, and I'm really excited with how it's turning out. So I'm excited to do the rest of my blocks. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode of Fabric Fridays. I hope that you'll check out Erin Dollar and Cotton and Flax, her store. Check her out on Instagram, and I hope to see you guys next week for episode 15 of Fabric Fridays. Thanks. Bye, guys.